I'm with Sam Livingston and Dan Herr. They are a super plunge team, and we're just going to have a nice conversation. So, Sam, I'm going to start with you to get your insight on what it really means for you to be a part of Special Olympics Maryland.
It pretty much means for me to be part of Special Olympics. It means to me to be like part of a family and also be able to like work out and stay fit as well.
And Sam, one of the things too is we've got, in addition to sports, the sports training competition, which is obviously the core of our mission, but it's really about more than just sport. I mean, you've become a better athlete, that's for sure. But we've got an athlete leadership program. We have a focus on health. Tell us what it means to be a part, particularly of the athlete leadership program. What does that mean to you?
It means to pretty much have a voice in like a lot of decisions involved in Special Olympics Maryland.
And Dan, I'm going to ask you too. I mean, you've been super plunging now for a number of years. What does it mean for you to be a part of Special Olympics Maryland?
It's different it's the ability to help people and to see what they're getting out of it. As far as the benefits of being at the summer games, seeing the events, seeing the athletes, meeting the athletes, and then becoming friends with the athletes. It's just to see what they can do in a community. And that's what's amazing,
And for you, kind of a two-part question. One, how has the super plunge impacted your life? But also, what was it originally that motivated you to be a super
plunge? Well, it got started 18 years ago. I was with the Ravens Roost. We have a bull roast, and we honestly picked Special Olympics of Maryland to do a donation to, because really the first thing out was they had the lowest overhead, and we felt as though it was the greatest impact in our community. And it started with a $250 check. I spoke with Kelly Schneedwin at the time, and she says, "Hey, we've got this crazy thing coming up, and this is mid-November. Do you think maybe all the Ravens Roost can get together and help out?" So we talked about it, and I went back to the main council, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're going to raise $5,000." And I thought 7 people were going to jump over the table and kill me because they thought we had to pay it. The first year we actually did $17,000.
Holy cow.
I stayed on board and kept going with it. And I was invited to become a super plunger because of all the work of getting the council involved and everything.
Right.
And I thought, I'm like, okay, it's just jumping in the water, and I'll never forget the first time when I finished. I walked into the tent that was nowhere as lavish as it's been.
Yeah.
And I sat there and just cried a couple minutes, and I was just completely overwhelmed, knowing that I had made an impact. And honestly, the amount of people that are donating, they may not be donating 50 or $100 this year, but there's more people donating, so it's out there.
So it's an interesting, right? So what does that mean to you to have so many people who are rallying and doing that, particularly in this environment?
It shows that the hard work and dedication that I have put into the Special Olympics, others are seeing, and they're seeing the results of the polar bear plunge and the super plunge. They're seeing, I saw Dan the other day, and he was at Chick-fil-A, and there was 2 athletes there talking to him, and they're out there, and and I share the stories of those who Adam's speeches and Rusty, how he's got his own business, and people are like, that's we kind of didn't know that.
Well, so this is what's really cool, right? So like without this super plunge and without us bringing the ambassador model into play, you and Sam wouldn't know each other. And Sam, you're on the Athlete Leadership Council, correct?
Yeah, for now until my term is up. Yeah.
Right. So, and one of the things that y'all are talking about on the council, and we talk about the first 50 years being for the athletes and the next 50 years being led by the athletes like Sam. And I think we talk about creating more opportunities to have people experience inclusion with their athletes. So there's a huge opportunity for us to use this as a platform and use your commitment to our athletes to help more people understand what you described that you've learned from being involved with our athletes.
Yeah, it's great.
What would you like to see as we continue to evolve both the plunge and Special Olympics over the next 50 years?
Bridget got to make this almost a year-long type of event. Where Sam's got an event, okay, and I go out to seeing where his events are, and whoever, when they're partnering with somebody, supporting them. I've been the very first year I was a super plunger, I went to the opening ceremonies, and my son was 6 years old, and he says, "Dad, is this what the money's for?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's changed both of their lives at that point.
One of the things that we've talked about is our vision is to get 20,000 athletes by 2025. We currently have 8,716 athletes. There's 115,000 people in the state with an intellectual disability. So one of the vision touch points for us is to have more athletes involved so that they can experience sports and leadership and improved health like you do. What would you like to see for those athletes?
Maybe more like events where they can come out and just watch and see, hey, I can do this.
Well, so that's interesting. So that they could watch, but then you want them to be able to actually participate in those events.
Yeah, I was about to say like maybe an open house.
Once they start seeing it, like he said, you become involved in it, and you're like, oh, I can do that. That's where I would like to see is what can we try to do to use our platform as super plungers and athletes to get more people into Special Olympics.
That's great.